Hello, my beautiful world. There is something I want to share with you today, and there is something I've been really sitting with this month, and I just want to start there. I want to start there in the sitting, because I think that's actually everything begins. Not in a gym, right? Not with the plan, and not with a decision to be better or do more. It actually started today in the DEXA scan office. I It started with a scan and a piece of paper. As I'm looking at my DEXA scan, I have not done it actually before. I have not done the scan before, but I heard about it, and I decided to do it. And for those of you who do not know what that is, it's a body composition scan, and it shows you things: bone density, body fat, in detail. And when I looked at the results, I kind of knew going into the scan already. So I didn't really feel shocked. Some of it was really good, actually. Some of it was good for me. But then some of it I knew I need to work on. And what I felt was something really more than surprise. I felt recognized, because it just confirmed something I had been quietly, privately not choosing to address. And what that is building a muscle. I needed to build muscle, real intentional progressive strength training, the kind that requires showing up, and the kind that requires you lifting things that are heavy, good enough to matter, repeatedly lifting those weights, repeatedly lifting those weights. And here is the part I have to be honest with you about. Here is the part. I didn't want to do it, and I kept postponing it because, as you maybe know, some of you maybe know me and what I've shared. I'm a dancer. I love to dance. I love to move. And, lifting weights was just not something that I was looking forward to be doing. So I didn't want to, and I kept postponing it. Not because I don't understand the value, though. I understand it deeply. Muscle mass at this stage of life is very important. It's not a vanity metric, right? It's longevity metric. It's a vitality metric. It's about how I move through the world at my 60s, at my 70s, at my 80s, at my 90s, and beyond. So I know all of this, and I still didn't want to. I decided I'll do this series with you, and this series will be around 6 episodes across about 3 months time period, and I will be sharing my journey with you, because what I realized is the gap between knowing and choosing. That's the most honest leadership edge we have to stand on. And I have a feeling some of you might be standing on one too. So this summer, I'm taking you with me. 6 episodes, this one experiment that I'm going to do. What happens when a woman who choreographs success for a living has to choreograph the one that she has been avoiding? Let's find out together. I want to talk to you about this gap that exists in the success space. We talk a lot about knowing. We celebrate the insight, the realization, the moment of clarity. We take screenshots of the quotes. We share the podcast clips. We say, yes, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And then if we are being completely honest, a lot of us go back to exactly what we were doing before. And not because we are lazy, not because we don't care, But because knowing and choosing to do are two entirely different acts. And we've been taught to treat them as if they are the same thing. And here's how I think about it. Knowing lives in the mind. It's cognitive, it's clean, it's safe. I can know something without it costing me anything. I can know I need to eat more protein without changing my grocery list. I know I need more protein, but I really don't want to add it to my diet. But I know I need to. I can know I need to set a boundary without having a conversation. I can know I need to build the muscle without stepping foot in a gym. So knowing is there, is available, us knowing, but choosing is not. Choosing has a price, right? And the price is action in the presence of resistance. That's the definition I want you to take and to maybe journal on, think about, or just hold on in your body for the next few minutes. Write it down. Action in the presence of resistance. Action in the presence of resistance. Not action when you feel ready, not action when you feel motivated, not action when the path is clear and the timing is perfect and the stars have aligned. Action when you don't want to. And that is where growth lives. Not on the other side of wanting to, on the other side of doing it anyway. Because now this is where I want to bring in the choreography lens, because this is what I do. This is how I think. And this is why I believe this series, I wanted to do this 6-episode series over the summer period. Because when a choreographer creates a piece, there is always a moment, always when the movement just doesn't feel natural. When I learn a new dance piece, a new choreography, a new sequence of steps, the body might resist that new pattern. When the muscle memory of the old way fights it in the intelligence of the new way, because the body, there is no muscle memory built in the body yet to do that dance move. And every dancer knows that moment. And it's not a sign of the choreography being wrong. It's a sign that something new is being built and is being learned by the body. Yeah. And so the resistance is a curriculum. And so going back to my DEXA scan, what I received at that scan, the result was an assignment. And the assignment was, you know what to do, now choose it. The assignment really wasn't go build muscle. That was not the assignment. It was the assignment under the choosing it, if you understand what I mean. The first was knowing, and then the second one was choosing, actually doing it, choosing to do it. And choice, real choice, requires something more than information. It requires identity. It requires deciding not just what I'm going to do, but who I'm going to be while I'm doing it. And so I didn't want to be a person who lifts weights. Yeah, not that I didn't want to be, I just didn't see myself that way. I just didn't want to do it. I kept postponing it because my identity lives in flow, in grace, in dance, in the movement that feels like freedom, not the movement that feels like work. But what I've realized is behind the flow, and as I'm building myself in the dance, I need to build the muscle as a foundation for it, as the strength for that dance. As I'm wanting to start competing soon in dance, I need to build that strength in my body. So it all works together. So I want to ask you this question. What if the thing I have been resisting is actually the next expansion of who I am? What if my identity doesn't have to shrink to accommodate this new thing? What if it actually gets me to grow? And I am a woman who moves with intention always. I am a woman who shares and teaches alignment. I am the one who choreographs. And this summer, I am choosing to choreograph my strength. Not because I fully want to, but I'm choosing to do it. At least I don't, not yet, but because I know I need to. And for the first time in a long time, knowing is going to be enough to make me choose. And that's a gap I'm closing this summer. And I want to invite you to close yours. And since this is episode 1 of the 6-episode series, there is no really last episode update. This is the before, but I want to be transparent about the before, what looks like. Just to honor it. I want to honor it, not to shame it, but because before is where most of us live for a long, long time before we decide to move. And so I as you know, or some of you know, I love moving my body already through dance, long walks, and this flow states of yoga twice a week, and things like that, stretching, and the movement that fills me up rather than depletes me. And that's what it has been for me, where I can participate fully with listening to the music, with my soul, participating in the dance, with my body fully being in it. And so it just really fills me up. And there is nothing, of course, I'm going to continue to do that. It's not going to go away. That movement is not going to go away. The dance is not going to go away. But I also recognize that adding weight training to this will actually make me stronger in the dance and will help me improve my body composition, my body, the fat and all the things, and also will prepare my body to compete in the dance later on. So I'm setting this foundation for myself as well, as I'm going to continue the dance, but I'm also adding this strength training. And I was also just doing something I didn't fully admit to myself before, and was avoiding this thing I knew I needed. I knew I needed it. And I would do it here and there, like, not on a consistent basis. And that's why I wanted to name it. And I think it's more common than we admit, especially between women who are already high functioning, already doing a lot, already living intentionally in many areas of their lives. We can be deeply aligned in 9 out of 10 domains of our lives and quietly avoiding the 10th. And the 10th is usually the one that would change everything. So for me, this summer, the 10th is the strength. So I'm going to start working, and I'm going to be coming back to you and sharing with you on my progress and paying attention. I'm choosing it, and I'm paying attention to what that choice is teaching me, because this is what choreography in practice is. And so if you follow me through the 6 episodes, I promise you're going to find the dance inside the discipline. I'm going to go find the dance inside this choosing the weight training, in addition to what I've been doing. And I don't want you to just listen to the series. I want you to use it. So at the end of every episode, I'm going to leave you with one question and one invitation and something to sit with, maybe write about. And in this episode, I want to ask you, where in your life do you know something clearly, undeniably, maybe even uncomfortably, that you haven't yet chosen? And I'm talking about the thing that if you are honest with yourself, that thing, if you're just deeply honest with yourself, that thing that you've been quietly circling for months, and the conversation you need to have with yourself, maybe with someone else, the boundary need to hold, the investment in your health, your business, your relationships that you know need to happen, the habit, the practice, the pivot, the thing you know. I want you to name it, and name it even just to yourself, just in a journal or a voice memo or a whisper in your car on the way to work. Name the gap between your knowing and your choosing, because you cannot close a gap you won't acknowledge. Here's what I know and what I've learned with working with women. The moment you name it, something shifts. Maybe not everything, but something. The gap becomes real instead of abstract, and real things can be addressed. So name it. And then ask yourself question I asked myself after I read my DEXA scan. If I keep not choosing this, what am I actually choosing instead? Because there's always a trade-off. If we're saying yes to something, you probably heard that before, we're saying no to something else. If I keep not choosing this, what am I actually choosing instead? Because the answer is where your real work lives. And I want to close this episode of the series in the body, because that's where we live, that's where I live, and we all live. And because I think we process everything, especially the truth, and we process it somatically before we start processing it cognitively. We feel it before we understand it. So wherever you're right now, grabbing, walking, I want you to take one full breath. And as you exhale, I want you to notice where you are holding tension. Not to release it right now, but just notice. And that place in your body, that might be where your gap leaves. So the shoulders that are carrying the weight of the thing you haven't chosen yet, the jaw that's been clenched around the conversation you haven't had, or the belly that tightens when you think about the thing you know but haven't done. Your body already knows. It's been waiting for you to choose. So this is episode 1 of the Choreography of Strengths series. We'll have 6 episodes this summer, and just one honest experiment in doing what you know. I'm so glad you're here. I will talk to you in a couple of weeks. And our next episode will be dedicated what happens when we stop resisting and start integrating. I will talk to you in 2 weeks.